Should be good to go. Ooh, we got a lot of people waiting.
25.
30. I got 30. 30's good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
You ready? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Chaos. My name is Brad. That is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and we made it our mission to help you guys own it. Fat Man Zoom, why don't we hit him up with a starting five?
We have Oliver Thorpe, Pastor David Hopper, Lickett John, Sean Ethier, and Robert Blackwell. You are starting five. Guys, we have a good show today. A lot of times is going to be spent on earnings watch party. We have a lot of earnings today.
Yeah.
We have Alphabet. We have AMD. We have Twitter, Visa. Who am I missing? RobinHood, Texas Instrument, QuantumScape, if you care. We got a lot of good ones. It should be, I think there are going to be some fireworks. I think there are going to be some good earnings. We're going to get into all of that. But first, how was your day in the market?
It was good, man. I'm actually up about 4% on my total account, which is pretty awesome for the Chaos Crew account. If you guys are interested in that, make sure you check the links down in the description. But doing really well. I actually made a big bet before earnings.
Yeah.
Nothing too crazy.
I did too.
But I did make a big bet on Google.
Oh,
we can talk or Alphabet. We can talk about that a little bit. So stay tuned for that. So if Alphabet goes off, I'm going to be one real big happy camper. But maybe it helps me make up for Facebook today. Facebook, I did end up taking a small loss on it. Nothing too crazy, but man, it just couldn't hold its gains, and it's still falling right now.
Yeah, I had Facebook calls going into earnings. We talked about this possibility, and the buyback just wasn't enough for Facebook. So similar situation, like I don't want to be in it. My Fat Man Zoom account, obviously I'm keeping in there. I think there will be a time to get back in, but unfortunately there's too many other good opportunities to worry about a dog like that in this stock market.
Yeah.
But what did do well off of Facebook was Nvidia, which was absolutely fire, all-time highs. Chips just continue to dominate.
Yeah, bro. Nvidia, it's going to be it might be the stock. It might be the most valuable stock in the market at some point.
Mm-hmm.
We look at everything that they're doing, and then obviously there's a lot of talk of the metaverse and everything else, which Nvidia probably will get their hands on and be super successful at. So there's just so much going on. They have their hands into automated FSD, all kinds of stuff. So they're just so much more than just chips, and it's pretty evident that investors are really starting to buy into this idea that Nvidia is just so valuable, and it continues to rock and roll. I mean, we could very easily see another split from them in the not too distant future if this keeps rolling the way that it has been. Take a look at the chart. It is rocking and rolling, guys. This has been just an amazing move for Nvidia, one of the top performing stocks of the year.
Yeah, and AMD actually recently has had sort of initiated the move, and then Nvidia was lagging recent, and then now just today happened. It caught up. Apparently, Facebook had announced a spending plan, boost its capital spending next year, which chipmaker benefit. Nvidia should lead the way as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
So, we talked about maybe the worst being behind us for the chip companies, but we said once the supply was sort of opened up, demand was there. And so I think we're going to continue to see them dominate. Optimistic outlook. It starts with AMD. Obviously, Intel did not give us a great outlook, but it's just Intel's just been struggling for almost a year now, and AMD and Nvidia clearly are pulling away from the pack.
It's going to be a sad day when you see Intel maybe go belly up or somebody buys them out. I think that's just a trajectory that they're on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I'm in that boat, but they are in a really tough situation right now. I think they can still turn it around just because there's just so much opportunity in the space. They just have to figure out whatever niche they're going to carve. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly a possibility. But I think they'll find their way. Let's just get into this trade because there's a lot of earnings that we have to go through.
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear your thought process because I was actually surprised when I saw the trade alert that you had traded Google. What was going on there?
I took a small chance on this. that could pay off big. You know, just looking at the way that Facebook reacted and Snap reacted, some of the social media platforms, looking into Goog was one that kind of like spoke to me because of their lack of exposure or lack of risk involved with the Apple restrictions. So if you guys haven't seen this, Facebook noted yesterday in their earnings that some of the security restrictions that Apple has been starting to place on some of their things when it comes to ad spend and the way that their algorithms use personal information to target a specific customer. Google has as a standalone platform as far as that's concerned. They don't necessarily need Apple to help them out. So I think that you have that side of things. Obviously, the travel, we haven't really spoken a whole lot on travel demand and how it impacts Google in a while, but that's certainly in the cards here. And I just think that they're poised to potentially have a record quarter, and the outlook here should be good. So I think of all the FANGs, Goog, probably, and Apple have the best possible outcomes this earnings season.
Yeah, I'm torn on this one. I don't know if this will be a record quarter. It could. They reported earnings their last two quarters were sequentially records. They reported 27.26 earnings per share last quarter. Their estimates are 23.27. Relatively substantial beat from there. My concern is, I think there's two ways of looking at it. It could buck the trend. Obviously, I would say, well, Alphabet's clearly a better company than Snapchat, and one could argue that it's a better company than Facebook. It's certainly more diversified. I worry that those two companies are showing us what the trends are currently, and my concern is actual ad spend comparatively to last year, and we've experienced the YouTube slowdown, and I'm just curious what the revenue situation is for Alphabet. Now, obviously, Google search is a huge piece of that, but traffic in general has been a little bit more challenging. So this could be some great reward. But you look at their expectations, $63.28 billion this quarter. They came in at $61.88 billion. So they just have to beat that. We'll see. But if anybody can do it, it's certainly Alphabet, and it's had some good quarters. But man, that's going to be interesting.
That is going to be interesting. That's why I did it.
I did one. I made it short right before we went live. And this one's even more speculative and maybe a little bit more risky, I would say, and that's Robinhood.
Yeah.
I just got calls on Robinhood, and I got them for about 30 days out, right outside the money. A strike of, I think Robinhood's at $39.50 now, or right around $39.50?
$39.36.
Yeah, so $49.50. But here's the thing, man. I'm looking at Robinhood. I'm looking at the downtrend. I think they might, you could claim that they maybe missed the boat on Shiba, maybe, but I think there's still some legs in Shiba. There's rumors around Robinhood offering Shiba, and if they announce that on this earnings, I don't think it matters what else they say.
Yeah.
They also lowered guidance and gave really, really conservative expectations for this quarter. So last quarter, as a reminder, Brad, earnings per share estimates were a loss of 26 cents. They came in positive at 18 cents. Robinhood did.
Yeah.
This quarter, loss of 20 cents. They could come in positive again, which I think would bode well. And more importantly, looking at the revenue numbers, revenue came in last quarter at $565 million. They only projected $438 million. So and that was before this big pushback to crypto all-time high. So I think Robinhood more moved towards that, and I think that gives it really upside potential. It isn't a downtrend. It has been tough for some time now, basically the last 3 months. But a positive quarter, a massive beat, and maybe adding Shiba to the platform, I think all could spell a reverse trend.
Yeah, I gotta say that's a pretty gutsy call too, given the fact that there still has no bottom on Robinhood's chart here. Also, I didn't know if it mattered to you that last quarter they reported revenue, a huge chunk of that came from trading Dogecoin.
No, it doesn't, because that just shows that, that's why I'm a little bit worried about them being late to the ball game on Shiba. But I think if I were them, I'd lean into the meme movement. I mean, their target, most of their base are newer traders. So lean into it. And newer traders like to chase shit. Newer traders like to go whatever the latest, traffic goes to. So lean into that. And I think they just need to set themselves up to whatever's moving. Because as well as I do, after Shiba, there's going to be something else people get excited about. Yeah. After that, it's going to be something else. So I think what we see is not just Doge, but just an influx in other altcoins that should show that there's a lot of just a lot of cash flowing in to crypto. But honestly, let's not forget they still sell stocks as well.
Yeah, I mean, the crypto thing is definitely a big piece to consider. But man, I don't know. I think that they've been under such scrutiny on gamifying things, and they want trying to promote holding stocks and not using it to gamble and all that stuff. They're really been under the microscope. So I'm not sure that they're going to lean into that, and we'll have to obviously see what they do when they come out with the earnings report. But it'll be interesting to see if you're actually right on that one.
Yeah, I mean, you don't think they're going to lean into what?
Just younger traders or beginner traders just chasing shit.
Well, I don't think they're going to lean into people chasing things, but
I meant like just making it available because they know that's what they want.
So you don't think they're trying to add Shiba to the platform?
I think they are because of the demand for it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's what they're necessarily motivated to do. That's not their motivation, is to lean into that.
Yeah, I can see that. But I think they'd be foolish not to leverage it. I'm not saying they're going to go out there and brand ourselves as the meme stock company.
I mean, they don't have to,
but naturally they will get those people. They're at an advantage. That's the bottom line, is they are at an advantage. You look at Coinbase and you look at the influx. I mean, there's listen, I don't even like Robinhood in general, but I think there's potential for massive upside. But to your point about the bottom, there's definitely risk, and it could tank, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But I'm betting on the meme stock movement, guys. Apes, help me out here. Save me after these earnings. So I'm excited. Either way, I think there's going to be some fireworks. And if I lose on this, it's more of a YOLO, because I can. Even if this tank, I can stand that, but if it does have a massive move up, I stand to do really, really well.
Yeah, that's how I am with Google too.
I'm just looking at it on the chat.
Yeah.
Don Fran says Robinhood is coming up, though. They have 24/7 call customer support now. Robinhood will make tons of money on options trading. They made a lot from me already. Michael Hanna has calls on Robinhood and Google and QuantumScape, 15K on the line. Don Franz, Google, bullish on Google and AMD. What do you think about AMD? I mean, AMD is also at 52-week highs, correct?
No.
Or near 52-week highs? No?
They're near 52-week highs, I think. Oh, no. They just hit it today. Sorry. They just hit it today. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys here. And I didn't think they were this close to it. But yeah, it looks like they just popped up over 52-week highs. Previously, it was right at 122, and that's looking like that's where it's going to close at for today. 122.98 is where it's trading at right now. We got about 15 minutes or so before the close, so we'll see if it ends up closing at all-time highs. But yes, so intraday all-time high for AMD.
Nice.
What a bounce.
I expect a monster move I expect a great earnings from AMD. I'm just interested in how both these, I mean, AMD and Nvidia, how they continue to run.
Yeah.
In spite of how high they are. So, I mean, obviously we talked about stocks can continue to go higher, but there's been no let up in these. And I wonder if the hype is just so big, the expectation's so high going into these earnings. What do you got to do to really surprise? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, and that's always the risk. We always talk about this. When stocks run up like this going into earnings, is it going to be the price is baked in and it's sell the news type of deal? Or are they going to surprise even more so, and we're going to see a run up. That'll be interesting to see how this shakes out after hours. But I'm with you on that. I think there's certainly some risk holding AMD going into earnings today.
Housekeeping ask, is Nvidia a retirement stock like the FANGs? I would say so.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I would say that Nvidia could replace something like Netflix in the FANG acronym, but you could interchange them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean Nvidia is my N in Fat Man Zoom. For that reason, I don't think it's going anywhere. I love their leadership. I think they've done a great job. When you hear people talking about creating moat, and really their diversification is impressive, and how they've pivoted. There's just a lot on the horizon for Nvidia that should get people excited. TMC has been in Nvidia since $19 pre-split.
Damn,
I would have a smile on my face as well.
Probably could just retire off of Nvidia.
When do you think Facebook recovers? Asked Alvin Smith.
That's a great question. So let's go take a look at Facebook real quick, and we can touch on this. We do have a lot to cover, but I actually did want to get your thoughts on this, Fat Man Zoom, because it did sell off pretty sharply today. It looks as if people didn't seem to really care about the share buyback or any of that stuff. They were really more concerned about this issue with Apple and how it's going to be affecting their business moving forward. When you have a company that a giant part of their business is based off of ad spend, and that gets throttled by something like Apple changed the rules of the game here. So what's the future of Facebook going to hold? Now, Mark Zuckerberg made it pretty clear that they're looking to invest a lot into the metaverse, and maybe that becomes something big for them, but that's a long ways off. He was projecting 10 years from now it being a big part of their business. So what happens between now and then? Now I look at the price of the stock, and I look at the forward PE, and it's all still very low. It's still pretty undervalued when you compare it to the rest of the FANGs. But this seems to be a pretty strong reaction to Facebook after a pretty lackluster quarter.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know what's on the horizon for them, and I think this may be sort of beat down until next quarter. I had mentioned my prediction that I thought it opened, it'd be 318. While it wasn't it open, it's certainly sitting below that today.
Yeah.
And so very much, there's just very much a lot working. I don't want to say a lot working against it, but just been beaten down. And I think it was a tall order for Facebook. So, man, I think it's going to be a tough go for some time, but like we said yesterday, great opportunity for leaps. If you're interested in leap options, if you're patient, if you have time on your hands, if you have it, like I have it in my Fat Man Zoom in your long-term investment account, retirement account, I think it's a great opportunity to add it, because in 30 years, it ain't going to be 316. So, right. So yeah, from a short-term perspective, I'm really worried about, or I'm not interested in this. But from a long-term, continues to be a great opportunity as a forward PE falls below 20.
Yeah, I ended up closing my position on this today as well. First time that it's been below the 200-day moving average since March. And if you guys recall, we talked about this yesterday, that if it closes below that 200-day, it could get quite ugly for Facebook. So watch for this to potentially continue falling. If we see that close and the momentum just isn't there, there's potential for this to fall back down below $300 a share. It's not that far from it right now, so we'll just continue to keep an eye on it. But yeah, it's pretty tough goings for Facebook right now.
Yeah, so guys, getting into the earnings that are going on after hours, we have AMD, Microsoft, Alphabet, Visa, Twitter, Robinhood. Curious, I'll throw it out to you guys. Which one are you most excited about? Which I think would equate to which one you think has the best chance of beating and having a positive move tomorrow? Brad already mentioned Alphabet. Microsoft is certainly a sleeper. Honestly, I see outside of Twitter, I see optimism around AMD, Microsoft, Alphabet, and Robinhood and Visa. I think all those should beat and should have a really good earnings. For obvious reasons, Twitter, I'm not so confident about. But yeah, I mean, I think the Microsoft always kind of falls by the wayside, but certainly they could crush it as well.
Yeah, and Twitter will be interesting too because while they do have a slight bit of exposure to some Apple, especially when it comes to ad spend, Twitter's looking to kind of carve their own way, and I don't know if necessarily it matters as far as the restrictions that Apple has in place now either. So that could be one that certainly surprises.
Well, I think it's also ad revenue. I don't think it's just Apple. I think it's just ad revenue and where your dollars are going, and that's why I'm not sure. Like you mentioned, Google not having exposure to Apple. I still think if you use Google on your phone, aren't you still impacted by that?
Yeah, but remember,
Or like YouTube?
they were also talking about not using third parties in general. So I don't know how that
Sorry, who are you saying?
Google, I'm
Oh,
sorry. Google is moving towards not using third party AI, using their own AI for advertising. So I don't know how Apple plays a role in that.
yeah,
Um, but so, but from some of the research that I've done, it doesn't seem to be a big factor for them. So I guess maybe we'll find that out in this quarter's earnings
yeah,
and get their response to that. But it's interesting, man. I think you look at how this has all kind of transpired so far, and as I mentioned before, it's like Apple is changing the rules to the game, and we've heard from Congress and we've heard from people talking about how Apple has monopolistic practices or engaging in monopolistic practices, and maybe this will be something that really kind of gets the other FANG stocks pissed off enough to be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, we got to do something about it.
yeah, yeah. Potentially, there's just such a I don't know. Like, do you think that really will have legs though?
I don't know. I mean, if this continues to be a big problem and it's just another stronghold that they have, maybe. I mean, we saw how it transpired with Epic Games, and Epic ended up winning that battle. So like, I don't know. I think it just all kind of has to remain to be seen. But this is certainly a pretty bold move on their part, and how it's impacting some of the bigger players here, the $1 trillion companies, and how it's affecting them negatively.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess the flip side is that even though the decision went against them, Apple stock is sitting just fine. So I'm not sure
Yeah, I'm not concerned about
what
the
that means
stock
for
in
them.
general. Just you know, could there be more legislation along the way, and could this be another one of those tipping points or dominoes to fall that maybe kind of sways them to start thinking about doing something about it?
Yeah. Yes. My answer would be no, because Epic Games is different. I think Apple sort of abused their position and like I mean, you're charging 30%, which is like just unbelievable for companies.
Yeah,
Whereas this is a matter of privacy. And so if you ask the average person, I would guess, do you have an issue with Apple having stronger parameters around privacy? I think most people hands down would say, I have no issue with that. Like, please,
yeah,
like, stop giving my information away. Stop giving access to me like that. So I think a lot of people get annoyed about the fact when they're on platforms such as Facebook that they're getting these ads, and it's clear that Facebook's listening, right?
yeah.
Like it's clear that, and so that's what Apple's trying to do. So from that sense, I think it's actually, when you look at the average person, it's like, hey, Apple's saying, hey, we're trying to protect your safety. And I think more and more people are uncomfortable with the amount of access that institutions have. That would be my only counter argument to that, is like, it's different than Epic Games. Epic Games are clearly saying, hey, we're going to bend you over because you have no other option. So we're going to charge you 30%,
Right.
which was absurd.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very interesting topic to debate, and it's something that um, we'll certainly see moving forward. But the other stock, um, Visa's earnings is interesting to me just because of what happened with Mastercard. Mastercard will be offering crypto to all its crypto purchasing opportunities for all its merchant processors.
Mm-hmm.
And which is huge. And we talked about this with buy now, pay later, but we didn't really bring it up as far as crypto is concerned. But these legacy companies, MasterCard, American Express, and Visa in particular, eventually you would think they would move towards we said buy now, pay later, but crypto for sure. And so you got to think that Visa's got something in the works. They're the big dog. And I would love to hear something surrounding buy now, pay later, to a lesser extent, crypto.
Yeah, looking at Visa's stock right now, I'm pulling it up here. And it's had a little bit of a comeback. The chart was kind of ugly looking there for a while, but we're approaching a resistance here at let me share my screen with y'all at here at around 235. It's right at 232 right now, looking like that's going to be right around where it closes. So if we can actually break above this on some pretty positive earnings, I think Visa does have a pretty solid move in it as well. And I saw some people chatting about it in the live stream as well, about that Visa actually being one of the more exciting stocks that they're watching here for earnings.
Yeah, doesn't seem very sexy, but I think definitely has some good upside. So
Yeah,
we'll certainly see. We can get into a couple of predictions in a second. I wanted to see if anybody's comments put in Starbucks earnings. I actually think so. Starbucks earnings are after hours on Thursday. FYI, housekeeping.
Yeah.
I'm very hyped about that too. When is Twitter ever a headbanger? I'm not sure. Brian Nitch thinks AMD beats and still drops, coming in way too hot. Azure is capturing cloud market quite rapidly. Azure's done captured cloud market.
Yeah, the growth there is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's nothing new. Lavraj said Don started using Twitter again. That's bullish. Yeah, let's play the game. What's the latest platform Don's all about? I was
and how long does it last?
Yeah, I was looking at TikTok. He had a nice run on TikTok. Dan feels like Google's about to run out of steam. Not sure your logic. Maybe you just have a feeling. But I'd love to actually get some context to that. What makes you feel that?
Hey, don't look now, but Robinhood's making a move going into the close here.
Oh, really?
Just shot up 3%.
Damn.
Now getting about ready to close over 40. So this call's already looking good so far.
I might just sell it. Get it done with. Zan Khan said Google was both COVID and reopening play. Yes,
that's true.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. And any of those like Facebook and Google, they'll be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
Good comments. I appreciate you guys engaging. Mr. DeSoto, will Hertz use buy now, pay later for those 100,000 Teslas? Yeah, it's a great question.
That's hilarious.
Alphabet will hit 3K very soon. I hope so.
I sold Cleveland Cliffs, by the way.
Yeah.
Still ripping. I know this is like a side topic, but this was only Chaos favorite, folks. And after those earnings, it's still going nuts.
You sold it? It was in the channel still.
Yeah, I was in the so my options were going to expire. So
oh, really?
And that was up a ton, so I ended up selling them. I could have sold some puts just to kind of start the wheel strategy on this thing, which I might do for Cleveland Cliffs. I was thinking about doing that today, but man, that thing's just continued to rip, and we might see a breakout here if we can get it above 27.5. What a star!
Yeah, it's been a monster.
Star from last week's earnings.
Jake Lipton said you disrespected Microsoft hard by putting Robinhood ahead of it in the title. Hello from Don Fran. What's up, man?
It's all about that SEO, man.
Don Fran mentorship making a move. Okay, so we're about to get into close, so I want to be prepared for this. I'm going to quick run through these earnings numbers.
You've got about 5 seconds before the close here.
So AMD, I mentioned, earnings per share estimates at 66 cents, revenue 4.1 billion, Robinhood loss of 20 cents, revenue 438 million, Google 23.25 earnings per share, 63 billion expected. Microsoft, what are the earnings for them? $2.08 earnings per share, 44 billion expected earnings. And I have to pull up Visa and then we'll be good.
All right, so I'm going to pull up the 1-minute chart here so we can take a look to see how all these are moving in after hours trading. Right now, Google or Alphabet is up 1%, it looks like, after hours. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot of volume in there, so we'll just keep watch there. Looking at Twitter, Twitter is actually down, saw a little all over the place here after hours so far. Visa also trying to turn red to green here, maybe. We'll keep an eye on that still. But it looks like some pretty regular after hours trading, nothing too wild just yet. Robinhood is now up another 2% after hours. But it's been pretty wild. It closed the day, I want to say around 39 and a half, but it's been all over the place. Let's bring it back out here on the 5-minute just to kind of give us an idea. It closed at 39.69. But still moving up here after hours. Just touched $40.28.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Robinhood all over the place right now. No numbers on them just yet. As soon as we get those numbers, guys, we'll certainly give them to you. In the meantime, while we're waiting for some of the earnings numbers to come in, we've got 182 of you guys watching, and we appreciate you allowing us to be a part of your afternoon and hanging out and watching these earnings come through. We got 55 likes. If we could get that up to 100 today, we got up to 100 yesterday and crushed that number. We could do that today. That would be awesome. Certainly would appreciate the love and support. And again, thanks for hanging out.
Just checking in on Twitter, seeing if we have any earnings yet.
My Weeble is going off like a Christmas tree right now.
Tesla and Jaguar Land Rover partner. So I don't know what that is.
What? Is that real?
It's nothing.
Microsoft still kind of flat, but it looks like there's some movement here. Not sure what's going on.
For which one? Microsoft?
Yeah. Okay. Robinhood is up to $40.23.
I have Microsoft's numbers.
Go for it.
Earnings per share estimates were $2.07. They came in they beat $2.27. Revenue they beat as well. Earnings or estimates were $43.97 billion, came in at $45.3 billion. Is that correct? Oh, sorry. Yes, that is Microsoft. I was looking at Visa. So good beat on both ends.
Yep. Right now it's just barely in the green after hours. It closed the day at 310, is now sitting at 311. So it's up just slightly after hours. Visa is actually moving pretty good here after hours. Do you have those numbers?
Let me see.
Sorry, I thought you mentioned you have them.
I was looking at Visa bikes. No, I do not have those numbers yet.
Okay. So Visa right now is up around 0.5%. As soon as we have those numbers, we'll certainly let you know. Nothing on Twitter yet. They do have earnings as well. AMD also has earnings. No movement from them just yet. Robinhood finally made the move, and it is now down 6.5%. Looks like those numbers officially came out.
All right, let's check that out.
Looks like that run into the close was a bit of a fake out.
They do. Hold on. They should be up in a second.
All right. So right now it's still continuing to fall here. It's under a lot of pressure. It's now down 7.5%. As soon as we get those numbers from Robinhood, we'll certainly be dishing them out to you. AMD flat right now. Checking back in with Alphabet, and that's down around 0.5%.
It looks like
those numbers might be out, but it is wild right now. Google's all over the place.
It looks like they had horrible revenue, $365 million, which This is
Robinhood?
Robinhood, yeah, $437 million. Okay, here we go. Yeah, horribly missed. $365 million revenue. Beat on earnings per share, a loss of 5 cents. Is that right?
Compared to expectations of a loss of 20, right?
Hold on. Sorry, guys. The way they're giving these numbers on different. The revenue numbers are right. Oh, no. Yeah, the revenue numbers are right. The earnings per share, somebody was putting in year-over-year numbers.
Oh, okay.
It looks like they missed both pretty horrifically.
Jesus.
It looks like they missed earnings per share by 70 cents. I'm just trying to confirm this. Yeah.
They missed it by 70 cents?
Yeah.
So they came in a loss of 90 cents.
Well, people are saying a loss of 206. Estimates. So I'm having different estimates. I had estimates earnings per share of a loss of 20 cents. Either way, it looks like earnings per share came in at a loss of $2.06. Sales came in at 365. Ooh,
Yikes.
it's going to be that's going to be ugly.
Hey, Goog's numbers are in. So Alphabet looks like estimated earnings per share $27.99, expectations of $23.47. Revenues came at $65.12 billion, beating expectations of $63.4. Nothing on guidance yet, but those are the numbers. Appreciate that, Arfin. And saw somebody else share them too. Kazapra, appreciate you sharing those numbers. While we were digging out the Robinhood ones, Robinhood's still falling here. It's now down 8.5%. Pretty rough stuff for that. Goog has been all over the place as far as that's concerned, but it did just end up turning green and is now up 28.12. Is now continuing to rise here. Closed the day at 27.93 and now is up around 1%. We'll continue to watch this one, but Goog continues to climb here. This looks pretty awesome. I'm digging that.
There you go.
I'm digging that. Keep going, baby. All right. AMD also has earnings today. No word on those numbers just yet either. Visa is the other one reporting as well. We also have Twitter, which was up 2% and then just dramatically dropped here. We'll continue to keep watching that, but nothing on either one of those yet as far as numbers are concerned, but Twitter might be getting some movement. We'll see. Another one somebody asked about was Texas Instruments. They do have earnings today as well. That's actually down around 5% here after hours, so might not be good there. We'll continue to watch that, but yeah,
looks like Twitter reported. Looks like it missed earnings per share. Consensus was 15 cents. Came in at a loss of 54 cents. Damn. And then I'm waiting for the revenue numbers. So yeah, they missed, and then revenue just came in line, 1.28 billion. With the estimates, it came in at 1.28 billion.
So they missed on earnings, but beat revenue.
They met revenue.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, a little bit of a mixed reaction from Twitter so far. I guess we'll kind of wait to see what their outlook is. That might motivate the stock to go one way or the other. But Texas Instruments looks like estimated earnings per share $2.07. They beat the estimate, and their sales came in missing their expectations. 4.64 billion. They missed at 4.66. So just barely missed. I would say they came in pretty much in line. But either way, not the reaction here is pretty tough. Pretty tough stuff. It's now down at 5%.
For Twitter?
For Texas Instruments.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you did say that.
Checking back in, Google, Alphabet came in with some really monster earnings here, beating on earnings per share and revenue. Actually looks pretty darn good so far. We'll continue to watch this one, but it had highs of 28.24, and it may continue climbing here. We'll just keep an eye on that, but so far so good on Alphabet. If you guys are just tuning in, we did report earnings from Robinhood, and they missed pretty horribly. It's now only down around 5%. It was down as much as around 8% in after hours trading, but trying to make the comeback here. Maybe there's something in that report that investors like. Well, that remains to be seen. Microsoft came in and they beat, or correct me if I'm wrong, Fat Man Zoom. They ended up beating earnings, right?
Yeah, they did. We have the Visa earnings.
Go ahead.
Expected earnings per share. They beat, looks like both. Expected earnings per share 153 with the estimates, came in at 162. Revenue estimates were 6.48 billion, came in at 6.6 billion. Thanks, Jason Padilla. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so pretty interesting response from this too. Now, Visa usually ends up having pretty low volume in after hours trading, even during earnings season. So we'll see how this shakes out tomorrow, but all looks good from Visa's standpoint. Still just waiting on AMD, correct? We don't have AMD numbers yet?
Correct. And I just want to say, so I was just reading about Robinhood. Apparently, ironically enough, crypto trading was down.
Oh, wow.
Last quarter. So to your point about Dogecoin, like guess that cash never went anywhere else. It's going to be interesting Riza Tescon asked what happened to Robinhood. They laid the egg. I flipped the coin and horribly missed. And honestly, I would have never thought, like, as much as I'm a Robinhood hater, I didn't think it would be this bad. Revenue missed by over $100 million, which is absurd. And their earnings per share estimates missed by 70 cents. So it was very ugly.
Yeah, right now it's still down around 6% after hours. Pretty rough stuff there. If you guys are just tuning in, we went over a lot of earnings today. We have AMD that we're still waiting on. Twitter came in and was practically in line. They missed on earnings, but came in line with revenue, if memory serves. Visa came in and beat on all fronts. So this is Visa's chart right now. They're actually up after hours and looking like they're trying to continue to climb here on pretty low volume still. Microsoft came in, beat earnings as well, and is actually slightly red on the day and after hours trading, but not too crazy. It's pretty much flat. We'll just continue to keep an eye on that. Texas Instruments came in and beat earnings estimates, but missed slightly on revenue, and that's still falling. It's down over 5% now after hours. And Twitter just ended up turning green right now. We'll continue to keep an eye on that, but it's interesting action here on Twitter, and so we'll just keep tabs on that. Robinhood's continuing to fall now, down over 8% after hours. And Goog came in. They beat earnings, another record quarter for them. They beat on revenue as well. Still flat after hours trading. It's a bit all over the place.
Still waiting on AMD. Have not received anything on AMD. Somebody said something about Enphase. Can you pull up that chart?
Yeah. I was just looking at QuantumScape too. Somebody asked about that too, but I don't see much action there. ENPH up 7.25% here after hours. Pretty decent movement for them.
They beat on revenue, beat on earnings per share. I don't have those in exact numbers, but earnings per share came in at 11 cents.
So pretty decent reaction there. It's up almost 8% now. Enphase is continuing to climb here. Looking pretty good. Still just waiting on AMD. I think we've covered almost all of the other ones that we're reporting today, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah.
AMD's the last one?
Yep. Did Freddie buy Snapchat? I don't think he bought Snapchat.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think that was the one he was considering. Don said he's selling puts tomorrow on Hood.
Ooh. I mean, it could very easily continue to come down, I guess. I mean, that's a $100 million miss. That's pretty substantial. I'm looking at some of the other reactions here. Texas Instruments continuing to fall. If you guys are in that one, that's still coming down. QuantumScape's actually starting to move up a little bit. That's up 1%. Nothing too crazy from them, but not surprising. Visa, if you guys are just tuning in, beat earnings and beat revenue estimates as well. That's up slightly here after hours. The big move for Visa is probably going to be tomorrow morning when the market opens back up. You don't usually see too much action here and after hours or pre-market, so no surprise to not really see much coming from them. Twitter's up on a not really great quarter, but it's still moving up nevertheless. Looking okay. And yeah, we're just still waiting on AMD. Alphabet ended up turning a little bit red, but still flat otherwise. Not too much movement from there. It's been a little all over the place. We'll just continue to keep an eye on that. But still just waiting on AMD. What's surprising you the most so far?
Well, just to clarify, Don said he's selling puts, not buying puts, FYI. Yeah. Which is... what's up?
AMD's moving.
All right.
AMD's really moving now. All right. So if you guys, as we're getting the numbers in, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like button, we certainly would appreciate it. We hit our 100 like goal. We got 300 of you guys hanging in and watching us this afternoon. We certainly appreciate you being here and hanging out with us and getting some good, decent earnings reactions. Let us know in the chat. What are you most surprised about? What's your plans for tomorrow? If things went your way or didn't go your way, we certainly want to hear from you. Let us know what you're thinking so far about today's earnings.
Right.
AMD right now does look like the numbers should be out based on how this thing's been moving. It's now up 1% after hours and climbing here. Still moving up. Coming up on 2%.
Yeah, Ryan, selling puts is bullish. Sorry, it was just a little miscommunication.
AMD is now up 2% after hours.
Changing frames didn't go my way either. I mentioned earlier I actually got into calls right before the bell, but I didn't anticipate such a horrible miss. It'd been one thing if they would have beaten it, would have went down, but like this was a horrific miss.
Yeah,
like horrific.
Pretty tough stuff.
All right, so here we go for AMD. Earnings per share estimates, they beat, and revenue, they beat. Earnings per share estimates were 67 cents, came in at 73 cents. Revenue, 412 billion, came in at 4.12 billion, came in at 4.31 billion. Beat on both, looks good.
Look at that. Pretty decent movement out of AMD. It's up 1% right now. Climbed as much as 2% after hours, but pretty decent beat from AMD. I'd be curious to see what the report says about the chip shortage issues and how they've been able to overcome those. But good stuff from the chip maker. Checking in on some of the other companies that reported today. Enphase ended up beating earnings, and that's now up 7.5%. That's having a really good day after hours. QuantumScape just kind of like not really moving. Not much to say there other than it's up around 1%. Texas Instruments trying to claw its way back after it was down over 5% on some pretty, I don't want to say abysmal, but pretty boring earnings. They ended up beating estimated earnings per share, but then also a slightly missed revenue. So now that's down at almost 5%, but trying to make its way back. Microsoft actually making the turn here too. Now that's up 1.25%. That's all-time highs right there, Fat Man Zoom.
Nice. If we said that, just a sleeper. Microsoft's just a sleeper. It continues to move.
Continually goes up. We break this out at the daily chart. And yeah, if this opens up tomorrow at this area at 313, that would be opening up at all-time highs. It looks like Microsoft is pretty deserving of that. So we'll see if that ends up taking place or not tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, you do get naked calls, your account won't be there. Yeah, that's true. I don't do many. I mean, honestly, I never do them.
Well, you made it pretty clear that it was more or less a gamble. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But I do like Don selling puts. I think that's a good thought, depending on where you get at, especially if it goes below pre-IPO price.
Yeah.
I don't know what the strike price on that, on what he's thinking, but we'll see. Laura Rogers just gave her son $5,000 worth of Shiba coin.
Damn.
Gave my son $5,000 for Shiba coin. Huh.
All right.
That's interesting.
Microsoft's still going up here. It's now up over 1.25. Looks like people are really warming up to that. Visa's actually starting to move now too. Some of these that had a little bit of a delayed reaction, but Visa's actually moving up. Has a new high in after hours trading. Twitter's actually green and maintaining that movement. And AMD still doing pretty good. So if you guys are just tuning in, some of the big ones that we were covering, AMD ended up beating earnings, estimated revenue, beating earnings and revenue. RobinHood missed pretty badly. Now down only around 7.5%. It was down much further than that. We'll continue to keep an eye on that. Alphabet beat earnings, estimated revenue as well, and then it is flat on the day after hours, so not too much going on there. Microsoft came in, beat earnings as well, and that's up 1.5% and climbing. That's still going off, Fat Man Zoom. That's crazy.
What's that, Microsoft?
Yeah.
Nice.
So pretty solid move from that.
I like this comment. Tobe Almaz said, did Ethereum have earnings too? Yeah, right.
What's that doing right now? Is it still moving up?
I think it's still around 4,200. Doing well.
4,261. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, doing well.
It's holding up. It's holding up for sure.
Jake Lipton, what I tell you about Microsoft versus in the title? You said it, brother.
Yes, you did.
Guidance. Somebody asked about Facebook, Tiger's Edge. Why did Facebook go down if they did a share buyback? Well, because that's not all that was in the earnings. I mean, they, what was it? They missed on revenue, right?
Yeah, beat earnings, missed on revenue.
Yeah, they missed on revenue.
Gave poor guidance.
Yeah, and so the 50 billion buyback was not enough to overcome it. You said a little bit different this morning. I think it was a smart move to buy back shares, especially if you believe your company is worth more than it actually is, because you're getting essentially it on the cheap.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's, I mean, it initially moved down yesterday, moved up, but we talked about it. You never know how the market's totally going to respond, but unfortunately, the buyback was initially pushing the stock up, but then it wasn't enough to overcome analysts like guidance. A lot of downgrades, and I think that's what happened this morning, where you were seeing the price target decreases, and it was just too much pressure on the stock.
Yeah. Twitter's getting a move on here. There must be something in that report that people are liking. Twitter's now up 2.5% after hours. Interesting. Not a ton of volume, but still, it's moving up here. I'm loving the Tom from MySpace comments here in the chat, by the way. Keep that shit coming. That's hilarious. Tom from MySpace is buying his shares back. Bro, Microsoft's still rolling. It's now coming up on 2%. It's still moving up here. It's now up 1.7%. It's looking like it might very well open at all-time highs tomorrow.
Looks like for Twitter, Q3 revenue impact of Apple's privacy related to iOS changes was lower than expected, and maybe increased guidance for Twitter.
That's what I was hoping for anybody holding into Twitter. We talked about that on Sunday. That was the one thing that I thought that perhaps Twitter might have the least amount of exposure to. Turns out that perhaps that was the case.
Did we say that Twitter missed?
We said that I thought that they beat earnings, missed revenue, maybe?
Yeah.
Try and scroll back here.
Somebody put those numbers back in.
Hey, what's up, Daniel Camarena from the FedEx warehouse? FedEx has been killing it ever since we've had it on the watch list. Speaking of the watch list, if you guys want to get a free watch list from us every single day, we put one out for our Chaos Crew members. There's a free version. If you guys want to check out the link in the description at ownthechaos.com, feel free to do that. FedEx was on the list there a couple weeks ago, and it's done nothing but go up ever since. We called the bottom on that one.
Let me pause you real quick.
Sorry.
So, because I just have the numbers. So, yes, I remember now. It said revenue was in line. Actually, slightly missed on revenue for Twitter, and did miss on earnings per share. Estimates were 17 cents. They came in at a loss of 54 cents. I'll be honest. I wonder, unless they said something different, could this be like a Facebook situation
where they react differently tomorrow?
Yeah, where it reacts differently tomorrow, depending on what the analysts say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit different because they are saying the Apple privacy isn't impacted by enough, but I wouldn't be crazy about jumping in. If I'm in it, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
But those two misses, I mean, earnings were pretty bad miss. I'll try to look to see what other information's in there.
It wouldn't surprise me if we saw downgrades tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's for sure. AMD, however, I think does end up getting upgrades, but it is pulling back here a little bit after hours. It's only up around 0.5% now. Really looks like the big winner so far has been Microsoft. Just an absolute monster. Money Mike says, what do you guys think about Hood? That's insane. Yeah, so if you guys are just tuning in, we were covering RobinHood. They came in and missed earnings pretty horribly. They missed revenue by over 100. Would you say over $100 million? They missed revenue by?
Yeah.
And it's pretty tough. I don't know what to think of RobinHood at this point, other than I don't want any parts of it. It's now down 9%, working its way down to 10% here after hours. And I mean, I guess at some point there will be a bottom. It's just a matter of when that actually takes place. But we're getting close to IPO prices here. The IPO came in. The IPO actually the day after the IPO, the low was $33.25. Right now it's trading at 35.89. Obviously, things can change tomorrow when the market opens up, but that's pretty tough stuff for Robinhood right now.
Housekeeping. I sold my Microsoft to buy Starbucks. I'm an idiot. Well, you don't know, because who knows how Starbucks is going to perform. I tend to think that Starbucks actually should have a really strong earnings on Thursday. So you never know. It actually could work out for you.
Yeah, I love Starbucks. I think Starbucks is a good buy.
Yeah.
Especially if you're into building a long-term portfolio, Starbucks is almost a must-have.
Tim in Michigan, didn't Kathy Wood buy a bunch of Hood? Yes,
She did. Yeah.
she did.
Yeah.
And she may add to it.
Yeah. We've seen her do that before. On crazy moves like this, we've definitely seen her do that. I'm curious to see what her thoughts or what her reaction would be though on a miss like that.
Yeah.
You're used to seeing Kathy Wood add to stuff like Palantir, right? Where the reaction to earnings aren't great. So then that gives her the opportunity to add more. But what happens when the earnings aren't good?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I said it way before. You got a good brand. You have good recognition, visibility. Get rid of Vlad. Get a real CEO in there.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
I mean, what, you going to let this thing die? Like, you're going to let this company just die? You know, with technology, things move so quickly. Like, I don't know.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with the fact that perhaps putting a new CEO in there would help Robinhood turn things around.
Hell yeah. I mean, just like clearly Vlad doesn't know what he's doing. Like, their concept was a good concept, but it just feels like the guy found like a hack and he's leveraging it. But that doesn't mean he's like necessarily what makes somebody a good founder doesn't necessarily make somebody a good CEO of a publicly traded company.
He reminds me of Adam Newman 2.0. He really does. It kind of looks like Adam Newman to a certain extent too, just a shorter version. AMD is back up over 1%. Twitter's still rocking and rolling, bro. It's up now 3.5%.
Nice.
$64 a share.
Seal Vlad's coffin. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So really good earnings, really interesting earnings reactions this afternoon, guys. We can't thank you enough for hanging out with us. We have 300 of you guys hanging in here. I think that was around the peak of our concurrent viewers, which is pretty awesome for our channel. If you're visiting for the first time, we encourage you to subscribe. We're going to be doing this again tomorrow's earnings as well. Another big day. Fat Man Zoom, why don't you hit him up on what's on the docket for tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah, so after hours, we have Ford, Teladoc, Twilio, eBay. Telling you, eBay people. If some people are interested in Upwork, but those are the big ones. Which one are you most excited about, mañana?
I'm excited about tomorrow. I'm excited about Boeing. I actually do have SPR calls or Spirit Air System calls as well. So I think Boeing is going to be a good one.
Boeing's pre-market.
Yeah, and that'll be a good sympathy play. Tomorrow afternoon, I think Ford's going to be a big one to certainly watch for. I think that's going to be one that I'm most excited about in the afternoon.
Yeah, so pre-market, we have Boeing, GM, Coke, McDonald's, Spotify. We have a lot pre-market. Randomly, we have Six Flags, which doesn't really matter too much, move the needle. But I'm wondering if any indication on parks and how that plays with Disney, which Disney has also been beaten down.
Yeah.
So good one tomorrow, guys. Make sure you come back 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. Hit that like on your way out, the subscribe button, so you get notified when we go live tomorrow, 3:30.
That's going to do it for us, folks. Thanks so much again for hanging out. Hit the links in the description to get our free watch list at ownthechaos.com. We put one out every single day of the week, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.